We're on. We're live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or wherever you are. Apologies. Thanks for joining us for our weekly live stream, SilviaFindings live stream. I know nobody's here yet, but that's okay. People drop in and out all the time, and somebody will watch this after the fact on YouTube later, maybe, or on Facebook. It's kind of curious. I always think it's kind of weird that I do this Facebook live stream every week, and I don't even go on Facebook personally. But that's neither here nor there. That's just a personal choice. So thank you for joining us. You know what? A couple of things before we get started. And today we're going to a little disjointed. Probably didn't sleep beautifully. Neither here nor there. Hey, look, there are a couple of people joining in. Hi, whoever you are. Nice of you to join us. Probably Lise and Nelson staff. Anyway, again, thank you for joining us for the weekly SilviaFindings live stream, which we started doing at the beginning of the pandemic as a way to see you somehow, to connect with you guys, customers all around all around the world now, I guess. But you know, because we do so many, or we used to do so many shows, like every other week. Seems like we had a show, like 24, 25 of them in a year. You know, we miss seeing the people, or we missed seeing the people. I guess we still do. Although there was a couple of shows we did in Alberta last month, and it looks like the first week of December will be in Vancouver, the PNE, Vancouver, for that gem show. I'm sure that, you know, somewhere up or down in the Facebook, you know, posts here, there'll be information about all that stuff, you know, coming up. So don't worry. If you're reading this or watching this on Facebook now or later, you know, or if you get notifications from us in your Facebook feed, is that even a thing? Anyway, or Twitter or whatever, all the social medias. You'll find out. We'll let you know. I think where that show is, and that's nice. I can't wait. You know, to start doing shows again. If you, same as always, if you share this video, you know, we'll send you one of those beautiful polishing cloths. What else? As far as postage goes, shipping goes, shipping around the world seems to be great. Still having issues with some countries in the EU. You know, they in July they passed or they instilled a bunch of rules about and I believe, I mean, I'm not going to get into the politics of it all, but it seemed to have been in response to and maybe retaliation for the whole Brexit thing. But it's having an effect. And you know, I've had some people, you know, shipments that we send to. There was one particular one that was really irksome because we shipped it to a customer in Ireland, and it sat in Dublin airport for about 3 weeks before being returned, you know. And she tried getting it. She tried actually going to the airport saying, there's a package for me here. Look, I have the tracking information. Try to find it. And they were, no. Anyway, it just came back. No reason. Just, we're too busy. So sometimes it's an issue. But I feel like the whole kind of world infrastructure thing is a little tenuous, you know, like most of the just-in-time shipping and you know, logistics is all based on a very you know, timely movement of everything. So, you know, even though we're just talking about, you know, simple jewelry findings, you know, but there's a lot of stuff involved in that. You know, we're not really having that many problems because we own the factory. So you know, we you know, once we get a hold of the silver, which we're not really having trouble doing, getting the raw materials. But if we were, that would be a problem, right? You know, we're still able to get raw materials, but something like a telephone or a telephone. Oh boy, your 1970s is calling. It's something like your cell phone or I don't know, anything. You know, so many things have to happen. Pick anything at a grocery store. You know, loaf of bread. So many things go into that to have that happen so that the bread ends up on the shelf when you need it. And if any of those things, you know, the petroleum that the company uses to make the plastic bag that the loaf of bread goes in, maybe the company that's making the little twist ties, the little things, you know, those, you know, they're having trouble, you know, getting the chemical products they need in time to get those things. And it just creates a whole cascade effect, right? And I think we're seeing some of that, you know, in a lot of ways. You know, we did okay because at the beginning of the pandemic, supply was down everywhere. You know, supply was depressed, and people were depressed too. But supply was depressed, so it was a little bit easier to cope with those infrastructure problems and those logistics problems. But now it's getting, you know, people are restless. People are looking to get back to normal, whatever that is. Even though, if you ask me, it's way too early. But neither here nor there. The problem is that there are still issues with logistics and things backed up, and I think it's beginning to have an interesting effect on a lot of industries. Again, neither here nor there. It's just something that's happening to, or not happening to us, except when we're shipping stuff, and really the only place we're having trouble is the EU, which is weird because normally it's fine. You know, in some places in countries in the EU, like Netherlands, we got a shipment there in like 11 days, which is great even for normal times, you know. Germany, great, no problem. Japan, no problem. Australia, no, well, no, Australia was long, but it still got there. France, I mean, I don't even want to talk about France. They're so picky. You know, if it seems like La Poste, if you have one thing that's wrong in the address, they won't even try. You know, it's like, yeah, no, I don't like the way this is spelled, or I don't like the way this is arranged on the address, and they just send it back. Anyway, whatever. Neither here nor there. Enough me complaining about postage thing, and I haven't even got started on Canada Post. Wow. But again, don't get me started. Let's just move on to the bales. We're still doing bales. We'll be doing bales for a couple of weeks now. We're going to try to keep these under an hour, as always. And I think we've been doing good because I've been trying to focus on only one tray at a time, which, you know, if you're familiar, right? One tray is, well, one tray, 24 items. Yeah, and there isn't really like a rhyme or reason as to how the trays are arranged. It's not like all of the specific pinch bale styles are together in one way, and all the, I don't know. You know what I mean? There's like a couple different kinds of bales, and it's not as though all of them are all arranged into individual areas in the trays. They're all kind of mixed everywhere. So at least it's interesting and fun. We'll always be seeing, you know, cool new things and cool new directions. As always, I'm going to save the ones that I think are coolest for the last. And there are two here. There's one that I don't know why. I just love this one. This looks like an octopus, or octopus legs. I just love that. I don't know why. But anyway, neither here nor there. let's go on. Let's move this turned around. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something, and that's okay. Nobody watches this anyway, so right. So our first item is LJ 841 with a retail price of $372 and a wholesale price of $222. And again, just to explain for all you new people, the wholesale price is you can get that wholesale price. Just the only criteria is you need to spend $150 total on your order. It doesn't have to be $150 of one item. It could just be, you know, mix and match, which isn't really that hard when you're talking about sterling, you know, pendants and things. Anyway, I'm just going to pull one of these out because this, right, it's just a tube bead. It's a nice big wide tube with a loop on the bottom and you can dangle something from, right? So your chain or your cord or whatever would go through there and that would just hang off there. I love that kind of whimsical. Why is it not focusing? Focus. Story of my life. Focus, Mark. There you go. Right, so that kind of windy road with the dots in there. It's kind of a cute little design. And that's still a bail, right? Even though it's not like a pinch bail or anything like that, but it's still a bail. Our next item is indeed a pinch bail, LJ 370 with a retail price of $13.43 and a wholesale price of $8.76. And this is just a regular old pinch bail, right? This is kind of way I can pull that off. But for some reason, if I don't put this card on here, it doesn't want to focus on the thing. Anyway. So a bunch of cubic zirconias in the front of that. Those are not on the back. It's just silver on the back with that little 925 stamp. Right? Just a regular old pinch bail. Kind of classic. Our next item is, and we have a couple of these, so I'm going to pull one out and show you, you know, basically how they work. It's a pinch bail. It's got a cool little Chinese symbol, right? I don't know if you can see this. Let me just back up a little bit, right? So it's a cute little bail, right? Nice little serpentine designs on that bail. And then the pinch bail is a little, you know, tiny flat spot on the back. And nice big shield with that, where did the card go? There it is. With that little design on the front. And I'm sure that means something. I probably should have looked up what they mean before I went on live this morning. But I didn't. I'm sure it means something good, like, you know, fortuitous happiness or something. They all, they all sound like that, don't they? Something like that. Oh boy, I'm so gonna get in trouble. Here, the next one, LJ 1016 with a retail price of $11.92 and a wholesale price of $7.45. And this is the same idea, you know, that short or the small pad in the back with that little pinch bail, that lovely serpentine bail of the bail, I guess, at the top. And this cute little design that has a space there, and you could just leave that blank because there's some interesting texture in there. But I bet you could, if you wanted to, put a little 2mm cab in there, or maybe even a 2mm cut stone. You could glue that in there, maybe push the bezel down on that. Cute. Did I say the thing? LJ 1016 with a retail, I did, $11.92 and a wholesale price of $7.45. But I'm just going to say it again just because I just don't remember saying it the first time. Here's another one, LJ 1017 with a retail price of $12.17 and a wholesale price of $7.61. That same serpentine bail up at the top and the pinch bail component down on the bottom, a little pad, and that front shield with another. Now, you know what? This is that same character that's in that one, just a little bit different orientation. Right? It's a little man standing on a box. Oh boy. Nelson loves my translations. LJ1018 with a retail price of $11.79 and a wholesale price of $7.37. I don't know why I think that's so funny. That same serpentine bail and another, you know, small pad on the back with the pinch bail and this kind of pattern on the front thing. Again, another interesting component there. You could probably glue a nice little, again, I don't know how big that is, probably 2 millimeter, you know, cab in there. That's probably what it's there for. Now that I'm looking at it, it seems pretty obviously meant to accept a stone. Anyway, here's one, LJ779 with a retail price of $5.45 and a wholesale price of $4.23. And I'm just gonna pull this out here because you can see a little better when it's not bouncing. So this has an oval, you know, bail. Okay, we'll call a spade a spade. It's a jump ring. It's in a big oval jump ring, but very simple, you know, flat bail. It's got that 925 stamp on the back, so that theoretically would be the front. It's got a pretty wide throat though, so it's pretty good for nice thick. It's probably has probably 10 millimeters across, you know, and you can somewhat adjust the curvature of the thing here to make it a little bit thinner if you needed to. But that's a really good versatile bail for that kind of size thing. LJ1013 with a retail price of $4.73 and a wholesale price of $3.16. And this is just another tube bead, right? It's another tube, right, with a loop, the open loop down at the bottom. Kind of simple, kind of, that's the back of it. But yeah, you can see here's a little bag of them, right? Tubes are pretty wide. You know, that's an open loop, so you can connect whatever you want to that. No muss, no fuss. Here's one that, boy, every metalsmith in the world needs. LJ1014 with a retail price of $2.63 and a wholesale price of $1.76. And just think, this is just a classic. You know, it's nice and thick, substantial, you know, bail, right? Nice curved edges that people, and this is open down at the bottom. Let's see if I can pull this open, right? So, oh, it's not. These ones are soldered closed. Well, that makes it trickier. So I guess, you know, if you're attaching this to something, you have to have the loop that you're connecting this to be open in your pendant. And when you solder your loop to the top of the pendant, this would already be on it. That's probably a better way of doing it anyway. I always have trouble with these where if you're connecting it to a loop, getting this, you know, far enough out of the way from the loop that when you solder this closed, you don't desolder the loop, right? I don't want to hear your tricks. I know all you metalsmiths out there are like, yeah, but Mark, if you just put a steel tweezer on the jump ring to act as a heat sink, that'll, you know, I mean, well, whatever. Yes. There are all those things, but man, some people are just lazy and they want it to work the first time. LJ306 with a retail price of $9.75 and a wholesale price of $6.42. I think one of my first interactions on the internet was, golly, it was like 1994, maybe? And I was having discussion with somebody about some metalsmithing technique, and what they were saying was just totally wrong. And I just wouldn't let it go. And boy, I feel like a dummy now thinking back on that thing now that was one of the earliest trolls. LJ306, I said this, retail price of $9.75 and a wholesale price of $6.42. And this is just a classic pinch bail, right, up near the top, where the bail is the bail instead of having a pinch bail and then a bail of the bail. Here's one of these. God, these are also very cool. LJ 976 with a retail price of $14.04 and a wholesale price of $8.42 each. And this is one of those that it's a pinch bail that goes through. You know that now. Don't worry, these won't be bent like this when you get them. We'll send them; they're nice and straight. But you know, these people be messing with these things at shows to see if they work and see if they fit. And these pins are pretty good at you know, taking a beating. Anyway, nice big wide throat, right? Lots of room there. You can do this around. I see people do these around donuts or pie. P-I, not P-I-E, like pumpkin pie or like that. Ooh, you see, it's almost October soon. I'm already getting into the pumpkin. Anyway, so you can pull this over, put this through the hole, you know, out the back, and then this can, maybe depending on the size of the hole in the center of your pie bead or your donut or whatever you want to call it, you know, might cover it, might not. I guess it depends on the size of the hole, but it's very cool, right? To have that little, you know, shield with that little thing. This is not the same thing with the little man dancing on a box. This is a different, this is a different conversation. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's got that cool, interesting texture around the top frame of that thing. And the back is very plain, of course, because, you know, it's the back. It's beautiful, but it doesn't have to be particularly decorative. And very useful, that kind of thing. Whoops. My next one, oh no, I've dropped it. I can find it. LJ 634 with a retail price of $4.71 and a wholesale price of $2.94. Right? So this is another... it's a magical bail. It's the Emperor's New Bail. Nobody's going to get that joke. Nobody. Well, maybe they will. Anyway, so this is a lovely scalloped, not quite scalloped, I don't know what you call that. Fluted? Fluted. We'll call it fluted. That's a good word too. Fluted. Fluted bail, nice wide opening. This one is also soldered closed. It's all cast as one piece, so you'd have to put the jump ring through there and then solder maybe the opening of the ring would get soldered to the pendant as you do that if you're using that as a piece. Right? Super cool. Did I say the price? LJ 634 with a retail price of $4.71 and a wholesale price of $2.94. I did do that. I did that whole Emperor's New pendant bail thing. LJ 283 with a retail price of $8.71 and a wholesale price of $5.77. Am I going too fast? Girish, Syria, you're still watching? He's probably not. He's probably like, yeah, you talk too fast, dude. I'm out of here. So this is a lovely bail with 2 rows of, it's kind of like that, the split bail, right? With the cubic zirconias up and down both sides. And it's got that cup and peg dangle that you can glue some, you know, I guess traditionally you always think of these things going into pearls, but you can glue whatever you want. Anything that's partially drilled on there. You're going to have to use a good 2-part epoxy for this thing. People don't use super glue for this kind of thing, okay? Super glue is bad. Cyanoacrylates. You know, those glues that dry very clear, or the very clear watery one. I guess cyanoacrylates, you can get them pretty gooey. So they may be gels, they may be you know, really watery, but it doesn't matter. The fumes of that thing will fume the surface of that, will mat the surface of this, and will destroy any pearl that you put it near. And most stones too. You'll end up getting a really ugly fuming matte area on the surface just from the fumes of that stuff. Cyanoacrylates are great for you know, plastics or things, or if you are refinishing a fretless base fingerboard, right? That's how Jaco Pastorius got his killer tone, is he had super glue on the surface of the thing, because it dries super hard, right? And smooth. So anyway, whatever, neither here nor there. little jazz history for you there in the morning. Our next item is a very special item. It's just a curved tube bead, right, with that lovely pattern in there. God, that's just so cool, that open framework. You know, with the loop down at the bottom, so you can put whatever cording, leather, whatever you want through there, chains, multi-strands. Ooh, yeah. You can put multi-strands through that, have multi-strands come out here and have your hero pendant or something dangling off the bottom. Very cool. Anyway, LJ 848 with a retail price of $13. Very lucky price. And a wholesale price of $8.67. Our next item is another pinch bail, or the kind of pinch bail that goes through the back, right? LJ 977 with a retail price of $13.67 and a wholesale price of $8.54. It's got that standard whatever little triangular bail with a treble clef. It looks like to me a treble clef that's cloudy. Stylized treble clef, which is, I don't know if you know this, but treble clef is an old German G, letter G, and the reason why it's on, if you're looking at the treble clef on music notes, you know that music notation is 5 lines for the treble half, and there's 5 lines for the bass half, and there's a line in between them that you don't see, that they don't, the thing, or they, sometimes they'll do like little lines on above or below the thing to show it extension. Anyway, this treble clef is centered around the second, the bottom line, which is the notation place for G. Haha. And the bass clef that, you know, is like is an F, and the 2 little dots are around the second to the top line, which is F. Anyway, a little music notation history for you. I love this pinch bail. Nice big, you know, gap here. Nice big throat, really deep. What is that? That's probably 20 millimeters from the pin up to the top of that thing. So this would work really great on a donut, on a big donut, being like, you know, 40 millimeter donut. Anyway, neither here nor there. Do people need music theory this early in the morning? Why not? LJ 986 with a retail price of $16.38 and a wholesale price of $10.92. That's okay, because nobody's actually listening anyway. Nobody's watching this. Oh no, Wambo Pedro, hi, nice to see you again. Just as I said that nobody's actually watching this, so nobody cares. Here's another pinch bail with the pin through the back kind of bail, which I quite like. And, you know, I don't know, one day maybe I'll do a video on how the best way to close, because I've seen these closed a bunch of different ways, and almost all of them are ugly. But there's a way that you can do this that it's quite not noticeable. That doesn't include, you know, hammering. I know traditionally the hole is almost barely the size of the pin, and the other side, if it's flat, theoretically you could hold this straight up and down, snip this so it's only about 1 millimeter past the top, and then hammer straight down and it'll flare out and thing. But I don't recommend doing that because if you're not super delicate and super accurate with your hammering, you know, the stone will explode. So don't do that. But there's a way that you can fold that and tuck that under there and burnish the ends to make them beautiful. Anyway, this lovely pinch bail, that's basically a flower of cubic zirconias with a couple little leaves on there. Pretty deep throat. Probably that's, what am I looking at? Maybe 15 or 20 millimeters from the pin up to the top. You LJ 986. Again, $16.38 is the retail price. $10.92 is the wholesale price. And I quite love that. Now this one, I'm going to have to pull one out because you're not going to be able to see it. LJ 721 with a retail price of 56 cents and a wholesale price of 44 cents. And let me just show you this, right? So it's just a cup and peg with that twisted peg that you can screw in or whatever. And it just has a little loop down at the bottom. That's a little 4mm cup on the top. Really good for, you know, gluing into pearls. If you have, you know, maybe you're going to use them as dangles from a charm bracelet or something, or I don't know, lots of ways you can use that piece. Anyway, even though this one on the display one, you know, because it's been there for a couple of years and people at shows feel like, you know, they're nice and bright silver when you get them, so you don't need to worry about that. Here's another tube bead, LJ 791 with a retail price of $4.84 and a wholesale price of $3.34. This just a lovely barrel tube bead with that patterns on it. Is that butterflies or no? It's just some stylized, maybe a flower, something, and pretty wide opening, probably good for 3 or 4mm leather cord or chain or whatever you want to put through there, and that loop down at the bottom to dangles that from. Kind of a simple concept idea, but I don't know, when you need one, they're perfect. LJ 347 with a retail price of $11.39 and a wholesale price of $6.98. And this is a kind of a different pinch bail. It's still a pinch bail, right? Still kind of obviously the same concept. The only thing is this goes side to side. You know, most of the other ones that we've seen and all the ones we've seen today are all front to back, right? So if you have a, you know, a piece, like if this is your pendant, you'd have a hole drilled this way and you could put the pinch bail on there and that hangs straight. This would be like if you have, I don't know, a carving of some kind or thing where the holes are drilled side to side near the top. You could put that through, like a briolette or something. It'd have to be a giant briolette to fit in this, but anyway, the lovely top is a big double loop, right, with the bail, with that cubic zirconia flower on the front, and just 2 simple arms pinch bail, right? So that's a side-to-side pinch bail instead of a front-to-back pinch bail. We have a few of these, not many though, because there's not much call for it, but you know, if you need one, we have it. You just get a hold of us and ask us to make sure that it'll fit. LJ 978 with a retail price of $9.36 and a wholesale price of $5.52. Is that $5.52? $5.62, right. And this is another pinch bail where the kind where the peg goes all the way through out the back. And what is that? Kind of like a stylized figure 8. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe almost kind of like a weird kind of Ouroboros where it's a snake with 2 heads eating each other in the middle. I don't know. It's just cool. Kind of a stylized, maybe infinity. Although, yeah, it's not sideways. So we'll just go with a lovely stylized figure 8. LJ 973 with a retail price of $11.57 and a wholesale price of $6.94. And this just has a lovely flower, right? 4-petal flower on the front. And that peg that goes all the way out the back you can connect to. It's pretty wide throat, so you can get a pretty thick, pretty thick piece in here. The distance from the peg up to the top is, just off the top of my head, looks like maybe 15 millimeters, 15, 17 millimeters, something like that. If you just measure, if you're looking at these things, if you're ever unsure, just measure the distance from the hole to the outside edge of your piece and the thickness of your piece, and let me know, and I can tell you yes or no, it'll work or it won't work. Because sometimes the holes are just drilled too far away from the edge. LJ 979 with a retail price of $13 and a wholesale price of $7.80, which is another one of these pinch bales with the peg that goes all the way through out the back, right? I kind of love that because that's kind of scooped out in the back. So you can take the end piece, right, that comes through, snip it down so only about 6 millimeters hangs out the end, grab the end in your tiny round nose pliers, and make a little tiny loop in the end, and then fold the loop over sideways so it sits down inside that cup. I think that's the cutest way to do that sort of thing. Unfortunately, most of these don't have this beautiful cup on the backside, to make it perfect. Also, depending on how brave you are and how good you are, I have seen people using a super hot, like MAP gas, with a really concentrated flame to melt the end of these into a little dot. Now obviously you'd have to super insulate your stones after it's through there, but it's doable. Maybe you could put paint a bunch of anti-flux on these things so it doesn't stick together. I don't know, lots of ways you can do it. The front is this kind of a curvy length of metal terminating in that lovely circle with the square inside, bedecked with cubic zirconias all the way through. And these things are pretty substantial, right? Pretty thick. They're not flimsy. I know that a lot of times these pinch bales, when you get them, they're kind of flimsy. They're almost like stamped. So it's people say, yeah, but $13. Well, yeah, it's apples and oranges, right? I'm not going to charge you $13 for an apple if, whatever. Neither here nor there. And okay, so we're getting close to the end. The penultimate bale is this one, and I just love this one. We have another one that I think it's in the next tray, so you'll see it next week, that actually is an octopus. This is just like curving, lines that to me is evocative of an octopus. And octopus tentacles. I don't know why tentacles come to my mind when I look at this thing. I don't watch a lot of anime, so who knows? Oh boy, I'm so gonna get in trouble for that. And it's just a regular old pinch bale again with a nice, flared out trio of whatever in the back, and this in the front. Very cool. I love this one. LJ 1021 with a retail price of $21.11 and a wholesale price of $13.20. And yeah, very cool. And the last one for today, and I saved the best for last because I don't know why. I just love these pave things. We have a pair of earrings that are owls that I try to show them to everybody just because I love them. LJ 1019, and we sell quite a few of them too, but I don't know if that's just because of my enthusiasm for them or just because they're cool. Because I'm right, they're so cool. LJ 1019 with a retail price of $19.19 and a wholesale price of $12. And so this obviously is a little fox head, right? With a cup and peg bale, so you'd glue a little pearl in there, or a big pearl even. And the bale part is the little tail, the chain goes through. What can you say about this? It's just so cool. I love the little pave head and that nice big cubic zirconias, little marquise cubic zirconias for the eyeballs. It's almost like some kind of alien fox. I don't know. It's just so cool. I love it. And you can see that is hollow on the inside, so it's not super heavy component. It's obviously substantial enough, it's thick enough to be very cool, but it's not super heavy on your necklace. Yeah, I just love that. What else can you say about that? You can't really say anything about that that isn't cool. I just love that one. But that's just me. I'm easily amused, and oops, we're there, we're good. These things, like with, I don't know, I just, how can you say no? I know you're thinking, yeah, I could probably say no, but you can't, because they're so cool. You can't argue with that. And that's it. That's all for that one tray. And I feel like we're able to do this 40 minutes. I've only been 40 minutes, so this is awesome. I know that the longer videos, when most people, like the vast majority, I think we've only had 2 people watching this live, and I know that most people watch this after the fact because they do get lots of views, or, you know, relatively, not millions or anything like that, not you know, but the longer ones tend to get fewer, you know, views or fewer watch throughs of the whole things. So we're trying to keep them shorter. The idea originally was to keep them under an hour. I wanted to try to do that less than that, try to keep them 30 minutes. And for me, 41 minutes is pretty good. To me, that's my half hour, because I ramble and I do a little bit too much thing. Or is it too much? Is there such a thing as too much information about a product? I don't think so. I think the more chances you have to see products in different angles and different things, maybe you know, somebody has an idea of how you could use it that you didn't think about, and you know, it happens to me all the time. You know, once people buy our products, we have no control over how they use them, obviously, and I've seen people do some weird things with some of our products that look great. You know, it's just not the way it was originally intended to be used. You know, but that's okay. That's where the creativity comes in. Yeah. So, in the meantime, I will say goodbye, and we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, and extrapolate it out to wherever you are for your time to see it live, or when this eventually gets uploaded, either both to Facebook, and I think it gets on YouTube too. But about that creativity, don't let the fact that you have artist block caused by a pandemic and world angst, don't let that stop you being creative. You know, just keep doing it. Just keep working through it. You'll get there. You know, we all do. It all works out. So, but in the meantime, take care of yourself. Take care of the planet. Take care of your mental health. And we will see you next week. Alrighty. Bye-bye.